Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another Build the Back to the Future DeLorean issue number 14. It's Saturday, of course, so this week we are on another rear wheel assembly. The rear axle assembly, the tire itself, is next week. We've already done one of these before, putting the the left rear tire on, so this is the right rear, and let's get to it. These are the parts kits this week. Verify that we've got the right screws, because I haven't done that already. And if we don't, we'll go to the magic parts bucket and find some spares. So, let's see. We are supposed to have BM screws, check. CM screws. Ooh, see? Yep, no, never mind, check. HM screws, check. EM screws, check. AP screws, check. And IM screws, check. So we do have everything. I just can't read letters. Big shock. I am illiterate, by the way. I don't read anything. I just recognize logos. That's how I do it. Okay. So now actually starting, we start with, like last time, a rear hub and a suspension bar. If I can get the suspension bar out, that's this guy. And the hub itself is this fine fellow here. And this is secured with 2 CM screws. Step up the screwdriver size. Try to minimize any round out issues. Okay, so this goes together. 2 screws into a tab. If I can make the pieces fit, these pieces are tight fit. So this is going to go together like that. 2 screws, there's a tab and a slot there. And with the paint, it is quite a tight fit. Second screw. And I am running the screws forwards and then backwards to clear any swarf or chips or whatever you want to call them. I grew up calling it swarf. I don't know if that's a common term anymore. And by grow up, I mean when I was, helping out in a machine shop in 2003, 2004, which is quite a few years ago now. I mean, I guess I was under 20 at the time, right? Just about. That's a long time ago. Okay, so that is the assembled bar here. Put that off to the side for a moment because now we have to assemble a link and a bracket. So we have this little dog bone link, and that goes into this teeny tiny little bracket here. If you can see the shape of that, it's got a slight angle to it, and that clips onto the frame. That's going to be held together by an EM screw. I can get that over here. 1 EM screw for this part. And I think we've got several others along the way that we use EM screws for. So this goes together that way. So there's a little, like an extra bit on the top of this, if we can make the camera focus on it. So there's that extra little top part, and that actually fits in the hole in the bracket from the outside, and the screw head is on the inside. This was kind of a pain last time, because there's not a lot to hold. So that's the way it's going to go together. But it's a pain, so bear with me a moment. Enjoy the music. Oh, still got a way to go. Okay, so that is the linkage as it is assembled. This can still move. Again, it's paint rubbing on paint. I'm sure it's going to lose some. I got a little bit on my fingers now already, actually. But it is what it is. They painted the parts all the way around. They didn't mask off the insides or anything like that, which, you know, maybe they should have. But it is what it is. It's the way it was built. So the next part, we're going to be attaching this that we've just constructed, these two pieces, though starting with the one I just did, to the frame itself. So I've got that off camera here, just on the side. Start with one BM screw to secure this little piece. Make some space here. Bring in the frame. Keep the wheels on. Come on, guys. Okay, so this goes... This is going to go on here, and again, just like last time, there is a little pin on the back of this right here to help locate this piece. And it doesn't say snap in or anything, but it's better than nothing in terms of trying to locate a piece. So not much new going on in the world. I'm a year older as of Thursday. That never seems to stop. In my experience, I have died 0% of the time. I have never died in my experience, which I suspect means that I'm immortal. And you're all the worse for it, I'm sure. Okay. It's funny, it looks like it sticks up a little bit to me, like it's facing upwards, but when I look on the other side, the other one looks the same, and the pin is clearly through where it's supposed to be, so there's no real issues here. Okay. So we got that attached on the side here. You can see it wiggle up and down. The next is an EM screw, back to one of those, to secure this wheel carrier hub that we put on. So, this goes over a lug on the side here and secures in. I'm actually going to pre-thread this a little bit before I try to put the whole beam on. See if I can cut these threads, cut the threads with the screw. That went real easy, actually. And that'll make it a lot easier to get it all the way down to the bottom, because the hole for this piece sits around a post, so the screw head actually hits the post rather than ever making contact, or I mean more than incidental contact with the piece. But all of these where that's the case, it's kind of a pain to screw it in with the piece there and tighten it down all at the same time. So by sort of pre-cutting those threads, I hopefully have made this quite a bit easier for myself. And it should just thread right on, which it's doing. So I may do this, and don't really have a lot of suspension springs left, I guess. I wish I'd thought of it for those up in the very front before. Yeah, so that's on now. Got this guy here, and it is all the way down on the post. It is that loose because, again, it's not really making contact with this piece, it's making contact with the post. The flat head on this almost acts as a washer just to allow it to slide. So now we need HM screws to start putting these linkages together. So we take an HM screw, and that is going to go through from the back through this and the hub itself and hold them all together. Now this slips neatly through here. Or does this thread through here? No, it's going to thread through all of it. Okay, does it slip neatly? Nope, nowhere. Okay. Left-handed screwdriver. Maybe not, maybe I'm standing this up or something. We'll figure it out. We did this last time. It was, you know, right-handed last time, that's all. Again, I think I'm going to try to pre-thread at least the start of this. Yeah, I have flipped this around. Not as good a view for you guys, I know. And not even as good a view for me, actually, but just need to use my right hand. Okay, so that was fast, but that's our linkage here now, connected at the top. Now we got to do the bottom, but that is going to clip through with some of the brake rotor and everything, so we got to get that put together next. Actually temporarily move the chassis out of view. Grab an AP screw, put the plastic piece together. So we have the brake rotor, and once again, little plastic brake caliper. It goes together with an AP screw, of which we have a number of screws now. I think I have an entire bag actually full of them at this point. You always get one or two extras. And this is going to go on this way. So the magnet in the center and the brake caliper go on the same side. And there's pins to align it all. Sort of. Well, these ones want to fight me much more than usual. The hole is slightly occluded with paint. Let's see if I can improve that at all. It's still going to be a tight fit. The screw's going to have to do some of that work. There we go. The screw's still going to do some of that work. Okay. Make sure that's all snug and secure. Looks good. Quarter turn extra. So there we go with that. There's also a shock column. That's that guy. That's going to get the coilover on it too later. And the very long IM screws are going to go through these. So again, I'm going to see if I can do anything about pre-threading some of this just to make it less of a pain. Last time that took probably a couple of minutes actually of fighting to get the screw all the way through. So I'm going to see about pre-threading through as many of the elements of this as I can. Just in advance. I think this it slips on, or it's just so close it almost does. If you just bored it out slightly with a file, it would. Yeah, it's really just catching on the paint. It's not really even cutting into the metal. This it just slips through. Again, kind of, if anything, I'm boring the holes out a little bit to make this work. But still, more clearance, less fight, hopefully. This will work better than last time. The last piece is the bottom of the frame here that it's got to get through. It's funny, this is such a loose fit that it doesn't really even thread out that well. Like, I actually have to apply some outward pressure because the threads just kind of slip. It's such a loose fit. I think the real hold is this kind of middle piece that the frame includes. No, even that's a fairly loose fit. I don't know what the heck is the real holder on all of this. I guess this guy. And even there. I don't know what the heck holds this all together. Tension? Frustration? I'm gonna pull it together, see what happens. Okay, so first is shock column, which is threaded very, very slightly. So this goes on there, that goes in between. And then all of this goes on. And again, I'm going to have to spin this around so I can use my right hand. Well, this is going much easier than the last time. I don't know what the heck is really going to keep it from just all falling apart. It hardly felt like it bit in there at all. No, we don't want to do that yet, because it's got to get the spring on it. which is the next step. Put the spring on. Okay. So now we need another, I bet it's an EM screw, another EM screw to hold this together. And we are almost done with this week's build, and we are almost ready to put next week's tire on, because that'll be, and 4 wheels and a frame, that'll look like a car. And again, this really secures down to the post, and that pan head just keeps it from pulling through. So we got a working suspension system there. We got a working suspension on all 4 wheels. Well, this one's a little loose, but there you go. Working suspension on all 4 wheels. We're just short 1 wheel at this point. So we got one last piece of this. Very simple. We're gonna need a BM screw, a couple of pieces of plastic, and a rubber boot. And we didn't use the boot from last time either. I assume those are going to go on when the engine and transmission get hooked up to this. But I don't know. I do have some engine parts in now, along with the next wheel. And after next week we put the wheel on, then we're going to go on to actually starting to build the engine and transmission. So, you know, that'll be fun. So with these pieces, once again, we have, you've seen all these before, but come on. We have a little silver angle bar, a little silver flange, and they go together such that the plastic molded bolt heads on here do go towards the rest of the bar. And it does turn pretty easily. And then one BM screw goes in from the back. And this is where I wish I had a vise, because you're twisting a screw directly into the end of a round piece, which of course just wants to roll. I'm going to back this up a step. Once again, just try very slowly and carefully threading these 2 pieces together. Pretty sure it's a blind hole though. I think that's as far in. Focus. Come on. I think that's as far in as the screw can actually go because it's a blind hole. Which is why this thing is so loose and spinny. So, what we did discover last time though is when you take this rubber boot and you slide it on and you go over the end here, if I can do it. I wonder if there's a difference in the sides. There is. Once you go over the end, of course that snugs it up. This still turns, but it doesn't really wiggle because that rubber boot keeps it in place. So this is going to go off to the side until they tell me to use it. That's what the finished assembly should look like. I think that's where we're at. So, thanks for joining me again. If you are interested in seeing more, of course, and you're new, you can subscribe by clicking on the picture of my cat there. We do DeLorean builds on Saturdays, parts, you know, as available. Same with Ghostbusters Ecto 1 builds on Wednesdays. That's on a slight hold right now because I did not get my new box of parts in. Not really sure how the timing worked on that. Yesterday was exactly a month from when I got the last shipping notice, so I think I must have gotten them and run through them quick. I don't know. Something's weird. Doesn't quite add up in my head, but still waiting on parts, and I mean, maybe we'll see them by Wednesday, but I haven't gotten any shipping notices, so might be delayed there again. Anyway, if you like what you see, keep watching. Have a good one, guys.